It's freaking Dandadan, you goobers, and today we're talking about Dandadan, a manga about the Dum-Da-Dums. Okay, honestly, didn't expect a chemistry lesson in Dandadan again, but thank God for it, because this chapter was absolutely goated for the last spread we got, because if you didn't notice, we got a brand new ability for Gigi. So before we get into it, a reminder, let's get this video to 300 likes and 15 new subscribers for the week. The best way to financially support this channel is through my partner Gamer Subs, because when you use my code and buy up to 5 tubs for a limited time, you will get a free gift for every purchase. That is 5 free gifts. 1 tub gets you a free waifu cup, and 5 tubs gets you the first ever Gamer Subs tumbler. My recommendation is Cursed Energy, the official JIJI flavor, Kaho's Guilty Pleasure, don't search her up kids, the official JoJo's Bizarre Adventure flavor, and their new Klaxosaur's Blood flavor for those 02 enjoyers out there. I know who you are! Use code CTACTICS to get 10% off your order. Okie dokie, we need to talk about this week's chapter because just like we expected, Gigi was able to blow back Inenra with the Kamemamamama, to which the Inenra is caught completely off guard, and for very good reason, as we're about to discuss. But we get those awesome panels of Inenra dodging the blast and moving in quickly to try and uppercut Gigi like he did to Seiko. Now, blink and you'll miss it, but this is a fantastic example of how this chapter uses the previous fight to show how Evil Eye and Gigi are learning from Seiko's, for lack of a better term, downfall of sorts. It also kills 2 birds with 1 stone and shows that the Inenra seems to rely on his ability to fool others and catch them off guard via his smoke and then just uses very simple and heavy attacks. This was shown in the fight with Seiko too, and even mentioned in dialogue in those chapters, but ultimately serves to highlight in this chapter how ineffective Inenra is when you figure out his ability and his trick. And honestly, I'm a bit disappointed in this hot piece of man meat, because you'd think that he would try not to put all of his eggs into the Inenra basket, but then again, what do I know? I'm just a chibi who drinks too much coffee and Gamer Subs every morning. Anyways, Gigi then transforms into Evil Eye to block the uppercut, only for Eye to attack and be met with smoke and then kicked. However, this was very clever of Tatsu, as it isn't that he got hit is the bad thing here. He lands the blow, but Evil Eye immediately recovers and transforms back into Gigi to land yet another Kamamamamama. This was absolutely hype AF, and I loved Gigi's adorable "yo, me again." Like, he is fully aware and leaning into being an annoying pest to Inenra. And there is nothing more satisfying than seeing Gigi blow his ass to Kingdom Come, as you see his eyes striking and sharp, trying to process that why, oh god, why am I such a dork-ass dork? Oh, dude, it was so great, especially after what he did to Seiko. And the celebration from Gigi is just, man, it is just so him, as it shows how far he's really, I think, come in the minds of the readers. While I was never a Gigi hater, I know people who are, and if they were able to see this Gigi, I think they'd totally be gushers for him, because he is literally the embodiment of the classic martial arts style shonen with ki blasts and, stuff like that. And we see further with his boasting to Inenra, by the way, love the woot woot. The reason he is able to hit him in the first place is because of his hot, awesome teacher, Miss Seiko. So yet again, Seiko is here, coming in clutch by teaching these kids.
How do I reach these kids?
This time, it comes in the form of a chemistry lesson. She teaches Gigi something called spintronics. In her own words, of course, it's a scientific principle that they themselves can use to their advantage. And at this point, the only thing I could think of is that not only is Seiko strong, hot, and a G-MILF, but as well is insanely smart and is Toast's bestest grill. Take me, please. Take me as I am, Seiko! But anyways, she says that in the human body, there are proteins that are made up of 20 amino acids called L-form amino acids. These rotate to the left, while on the flip side, sugars and genes rotate to the right. This means simply that depending on the way they rotate their properties, they change. I think Tatsu using a bottle here to show a very simple example was very effective because they apply it to their training through that analogy. By unleashing energy, it is a left rotation, and when storing said energy to contain the force, it is a right rotation. In other words, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And at this point, it is very simple to understand where this goes next, but it is a bit tricky to wrap your head around at first. Simply put, corporeal enemies, which means physical enemies made of actual meat, bone, flesh, that sort of thing, requires Gigi to use the left rotating kamamamamamama. So, left for flesh for short. But here is a tricky trick to all of this. Against an ethereal enemy, which means a person without a body, so basically an Inenra, these people are in a smoke-like state physically, so Gigi would have to use a right spinning to be effective. So in other words, right for well, there isn't a catchy name for this one, so we'll go right for Randy. Yeah, I hope that helped anyone confused, because I think I'm now confused. But Seiko, realizing at the time Gigi wouldn't be able to pull off that, simply told him to keep it in the back of his head because one day he would be able to, and well, this is that day. It is also kind of incredibly sad if you think about it that Seiko won't be able to see Gigi pull this off for the first time. But who knows, maybe she'll recover during the fight and stand up and be like, knock him dead, Gigi, you did good. My hips are dust. Either way, I found it interesting that Inenra, upon hearing Gigi explain why his attacks worked, didn't understand at all what he was saying. It just makes me wonder why that is. It just, I don't know, it sticks in my head for some reason. But either way, Inenra still has the upper hand in this fight, because he figures out quickly that Evil Eye cannot use the Kamehameha, and thus only needs to keep up his barrage of attacks against Evil Eye so he can't transform. I really appreciated this because Inenra isn't just some dumb yokai. He is effective and he pays attention, which is likely to compensate for his glaring weak point, which we discussed at the top of the video. But either way, I love this a lot. I love smart enemies, especially smart enemies that know their weaknesses. And we see just how effective Inenra still is as he lays into Evil Eye and really proves his own point right. But the big twist has yet to come. Sirs, ma'ams, this is a shonen manga, okay? It seems as if Gigi and Evil Eye have decided to just fuse together in the same way that Turbo Granny and Okarun did to create his own unique yokai form. So once again, I want to remind you guys before we get into this part of the video, drop a like if you haven't already, subscribe, comment below. So here is my theory on this, and it is pretty simple. I think Gigi took Inenra's words to heart and figured out a way, mid-fight, to fuse with Eye so that he could use both his offensive and defensive elements to combine them. This would effectively mean that Gigi in his Evil Eye form uses and vice versa. This is very bad for Inenra because without the proper counter to Gigi and Evil Eye, he is more cooked than a $2 steak. He's gonna be broken in half by Gigi, beaten like a government mule. My worry, however, is that this could just be a way to level the playing field. And if so, then Inenra could call upon help from the frog guy or his ninjas to play up some dirty, sleazy tactics. After all, this is the Inenra that relies on his power surprising people, so it wouldn't surprise me in the least if he continued to try and manipulate that dynamic again. It is very clear though, that being said, I will give him that, but we will just have to see how both sides react to this development and where this goes, because on the other hand, I also can absolutely see Tatsu not wanting to ruin the moment here with Gigi getting a big moment and a big power-up, and then just have him be tricked out by an enemy again? I don't know. We'll see. Also, go back, watch my earlier videos on Dandadan. I freaking called it, you guys. I knew the Uzumaki pullover wasn't just for a cheeky reference. This was clear and clever foreshadowing by Tatsu to show us that the key to JIJI is rotational forces, or, spirals! I love this because it totally fits with the theme of Gigi's character, a weird goofball who harnesses the power of anime and manga itself to fight his enemies and protect his dum-dums, in this case, Junji Ito. This just makes me wonder what other ways Tatsu is going to implement this kind of stuff into Gigi's character. And hey, that could be my call to action for this chapter for you guys. What other ways do you think Gigi will take inspiration from other manga and anime? And of course, what did you think about this chapter and your theories coming out of it? Thank you all so much for watching. You can check out this video here for more content from me, The C. Make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.